Okay, I've been asked to go through the Narada Bhakti text, and so we'll see. I'm going to go through it. I haven't read it first, so I'm just going to go through it point blank, and we'll see where we go with this. This was the Bhakti. Okay, Bhakti is the path of love and devotion. Okay, Bhakti. Now therefore we shall expound Bhakti. 2. It is of the nature of the highest love for this one. Well, this one would be the divine is. It's singular. It's not even one. One can be subdivided, so it's even beyond that. It is the divine. 0. That's why they have looks like the egg, which they want to erroneously call a penis. But if you go into Shiva, you'll see the linga, okay, which is shaped in a shape of a 0, basically. Okay, it's that which is never fully divided, although Shakti, the energy, has the appearance of divisions. But at the heart of it all is that singular is. Okay. Says number 3, and of the nature of immortal bliss. Okay. It's always the same, unchanging, eternal in nature. Number 4, on attaining which a man becomes perfect, immortal, satisfied forever. Well, what happens in realization, again, the ideology of being a separate entity dissolves, okay? That implodes. And one finds out in that moment they've always been this divine is, part and parcel. Okay, so perfect, immortal, satisfied forever. I've never been born, I've never died. I am this divine is. Okay. Number 5, on gaining which one wants nothing, laments over nothing, hates nothing, delights in nothing, and is never enthusiastic over anything earthly. And yeah, that's the way it is. People ask about my house that I'm getting. Okay. Really, internally, it's like this. Okay. Everything is momentary. Okay. You're not sitting there, really stressing, even though I'm saying that, yeah, like to get out of here, would like to be in the house with, those things. But really, at the core of center, everything is like this, steady like this. I don't get excited. People say, aren't you excited? Well, it's not here yet. Okay, you're in the moment. You are perennially forever in the moment. I can't project in the future, neither can I reminisce about the past. It's not there any longer. Okay. So even though the body form still speaks of the dualistic things, internally, really what's going on in consciousness is way different than before realization. What happens. Okay. Number 6, experiencing which one becomes exhilarated beyond self-control, stands perfectly still, and revels in the self. Okay, well, how to explain this? When realization takes place, everything dismantles. It's not like you are a persona seeing something, experiencing something. In that moment, there is no longer a meism. Okay? There is only that experiencing of that divine is. Okay? And the mind stills at that point. It's no more revolving any longer. Okay? Beyond self-control, there's nothing to control. Okay? This talks as if it's something that you are seeing that's separate from you. No. The ideation of you dismantles. The only thing that is present at that moment in time is that divine is. It's as if you have never, ever existed. Okay? So let's continue forward. Okay, this is section 2, number 7. It is no worldly desire, for it is of the nature of suppression. Okay. It's not something that one seeks, desires. It comes by grace. By grace. Okay. Number 8, suppression means abandoning all worldly and Vedic activities. Okay. Again, it doesn't come under doership. It doesn't, all of these things you're going to do this and this and this and this to get there. I'm going to wear white. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to, read all these scriptures. It doesn't get you there. You get there by grace, by surrender, surrender, surrender. 9, an exclusive devotion to Him and indifference to all things that are obstacles to it. Okay, as you're going forward on the path, you're not pining for these other worldly things. Your whole focus is wanting to know truth above all things. And the rest of it loses its allure. You're not interested. You're not interested in parties. You're not interested in chasing sex. You're not interested in those things. Because your total focus is wanting truth. Wanting to know God. Wanting to know truth beyond any of these other things. And that's what is your driving force. Okay? That longing, that desire within to know, what is God? Okay? So number 10, exclusive devotion is abandonment of all other supports. Okay? Again, your whole desire is to know and experience what is God. What is God? 11, indifference to obstacles consists in undertaking only such activities, whether of ordinary life or those enjoined in the Vedas, as are favorable to it. Again, you lose your passion for wanting to do partying or any of that stuff. That's what that means. You just, those are not of interest. My whole desire is to know God and know truth. Okay? The rest of those things, they come and go. It's nothing. Okay? So we're in section 3, number 12. Even after firm establishment in divine resolve, the scriptures are to be respected. Okay. Even though your full passion is there, you can maybe get something from scriptures as an aid along the way. Number 13, otherwise there is apprehension of a fall. Okay, so you're using the scriptures, or you're using, like I said, if you were taking sannyas, you're wearing the orange, it's reminders of your path forward. Okay, they're aids in your path to keep you going. Number 14, even ordinary life is only up till then, though physical activities such as taking food continue as long as one wears his body. Well, yeah. I mean, you still are acting in a world of duality. The body does what the body does. Okay? That's all. Okay, we're in section 4, number 15. Definitions of this bhakti will now be stated in accordance with different views. Okay. Number 16. It is love of worship and other similar acts, says Vyasa, the son of Parasara. Okay. So these are different things that people's ideas about it are taking one forward. Okay. Fondness for spiritual conversation and the like. Okay, you enjoy speaking of those things. Number 18, these are bhakti insofar as they do not clash with the contemplation of the self. Okay, so contemplation of the self. You can't really contemplate that which you don't know. Okay? This is their ideas about what self is. Their ideas about what this divine is. Okay? But these ideas about it are their own, their own fantasy. You can't contemplate something which you have no reference for. Okay? You can contemplate these aspects which are within the seen realm, but you can't really contemplate something which is spirit, which you have no reference for. Number 19, but Narada says it is the offering of all acts to him. Why do they always put him? I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but the divine is not male nor female. So this idea of him needs to go. They would be better to say the divine is. It's beyond form, beyond all these identifications, male or female. Okay. So excuse me if I don't use him any longer, because again, that's a fallacy. Okay. So it is the offering of all acts to the divine is, and feeling the highest pang of separation on occasions of losing remembrance of the divine is. Okay. So it's again, this is a mental ideation of longing and clinging, okay? And again, I don't know if they think that this divine is in remembrance and I'm doing all these things, So I'm going to leave that here. Number 20, so it is, so it is. 21, as for instance in the case of the cowherdess of Vraja, Gokula. Number 22, it cannot be said that even there is a blemish, the absence of recognition of divine glory. 23, lacking in such appreciation is the love, for instance, of adulterers. Okay. So there should be appreciation for God, the divine is in all things. So they're saying the adulterer is somebody that's chasing something else, something of form and flesh, is an adulteration. Because your whole beingness is not, clinging to that. It's looking for something other. 24. In that sort of love, there is no idea at all of one's feeling happy in the happiness of the other. Okay. Section 5. Now this bhakti is greater than kama, performance of religious works, jnana, knowledge, and yoga, mystic control of the mind. For it is the nature of the fruit of all of these. Well, you can't know the nature of the fruit until you've had the plant. So this is putting the cart before the horse. Okay? You maybe do some religious works and that connects you with more opening or jnana, knowledge. Now, again, you don't get knowledge until you get to the end of the path, truly. You don't get the full knowledge. Yoga, mystic control of the mind, these are things that take one along the path. Okay. Number 27, and because God hates egotism and loves humility. God doesn't hate. Okay? God is not a hater. Okay? That's why when you get to the path, the end of the path, you can't hate. You don't hate. You may be really displeased with what someone is doing, but you don't hate. That is no longer there. Okay? So this number 20, and God hates egotism and loves humility, is again, this is somebody's ideation. It sounds good, but it's not reality. Okay? God does not hate. When you get to realization, you cannot hate. If even you cannot hate, how can you put that on God? That God's a hater of this. Okay? This is why these texts, when you get a text that's written by somebody that's doing a path, and they're not a realized being, this is the kind of nonsense you get. You get some sort of ideations thrown in there, which sounds good to ego. Sounds good to ego. Really high on for ego. But when you get to that path where everything dismantles, that's bogus. I'm sorry, it's bogus. So we're in the 6th chapter. 28. Some think that knowledge is the one means to it. Okay. Well, they're talking about knowledge. It's not really knowledge unless it's something that's known. Okay. So are they talking about opinions? Okay. Knowledge comes with wisdom when you're a knower of something. If you were a knower of something, it's knowledge. Not a knower about, a knower. That's talking about knowing about. I read a book and it says, okay, that's not knowing. That's knowing about. That's what somebody else knows that you're adopting. Okay? So they're speaking erroneously of knowledge. Number 29. Others are of opinion. Well, if you're reading something that you don't have direct experience of it, it's again an opinion. It's still an opinion. Okay? That there is mutual dependence between the two. Number 30. It is its own fruit, saith Narada, the son of Brahma. 31. So it is seen to be just so in the case of the palace, a dinner, and the like. 32. The king is not pleased by that knowledge, nor is the hunger appeased by mere knowledge of food. Well, again, then it's not knowledge, it's knowing about. But if you don't have that direct experience, it's not going to help anything. Okay? You can see food, you can comment on it, but until you taste it, it's useless. Okay? So I think that's what they're trying maybe to get to in here, although it's stated in kind of a roundabout way. Number 33, hence this bhakti alone should be chosen by those who seek liberation. Okay? Well, you've got to have that desire for it. If there's not a desire for it, it's not going to open up. Okay? You got to open the door. Bhakti is that desire. That desire. A love of what? If you have a love of sex, you're going to open the door to that, okay? If you have a love of wanting to know the truth, the love for that desire, then you open that door, okay? So we're in chapter 7. Teachers have recommended various means to this bhakti, this devotion. 35. It results from the renunciation of the objects of the senses and renunciation of attachment. Well, it doesn't necessarily result. You could push everything away and you don't have that desire for God or desire for liberation or desire, and then you're just left with nothing. Okay? So again, these texts. Okay? Oh, yeah, I'm going to get love, I'm going to get devotion if I renounce all the objects of the sense or renounce attachment. But it's not saying you have a desire for God. It's just saying bhakti is going to result if you give up all these things. No. Not unless you have a desire for that door to open. Okay? So again, oh yeah, if you give up all these things, bhakti's going to arise. It's a ridiculous statement. I'm sorry. You have to have the desire. Now, if you have the desire, the renunciation of these things can help to further that. Okay? So what's going on? 36, from unremitting adoration. 37, from listening to the narration of various blessed qualities of the Lord and proclaiming them aloud even while attending to affairs of ordinary life. If you don't have that desire to know, you can parrot that all you want and it's not going to move you in the least. Okay? I could sit there and parrot ending mathematical equations. It doesn't mean I'm going to understand mathematical equations if I don't have the desire for it. Okay? So to sit there and say, if you do these things, you're going to develop bhakti. No. If you don't have that desire to open that up, then you could do all these things and it doesn't move you one iota closer. You have to open that door and want that. It has to be your desire to want to know God, to be with God, to experience it. If you don't have that desire, you could do all these things and it's useless. Okay? It's like having a horse laying there dead and you're beating it to get up and move you. It's not going to go anywhere. So let's see, 38. In the main, however, it results through the grace of the great ones, through even a little grace of the Lord. Again, it comes by grace. But we have free will. We can either want to know God, want to know that love, or turn the back on it. You have free will. Okay? And your free will has to be a part of this. Okay? Number 8. Now, people are saying this is a short thing. This is not a short thing. This is 89 is it pages or 89 things? So I may not get through all of this. Number 39. Now, association with the great is hard to get, difficult to realize, though most invaluable. When they're saying the great, they mean ones that are realized, that have attained, well, I don't want to say attained, it's like you've earned it, okay, it comes by grace. But those that are no longer being deceived or in those illusions and in speculation and in opinion, okay. Number 40, nevertheless, it is attainable, and that through his grace only. It can happen, but it's by grace. And it's not his grace, through the divine is. Okay? For there is no distinction between divine is and the divine is devotees. Okay? Number 42, that alone should be sought out, that alone should be sought out. Number 43, this is chapter 9. Evil association should be shunned by all manner of means. Well, of course, if you're wanting to go to truth, you don't chase untruth. You don't associate with that. Okay? Number 44. For it is the cause of desire, anger, delusion, loss of memory, loss of intellect, and utter ruin. Okay? To be chasing those things that are erroneous, okay, and within the divisionary realm, you're going to get anger, you're going to get desire, you're going to get envy, you're going to get all of those mixed bag of drama. It's not going to help you get towards that moment of surrender into that divine is. Number 45, these are in themselves like little waves, but through association become a veritable sea. Okay? It's just going to pull you further away from what you're seeking. If your ultimate seeking is to know God, the divine is. Okay? Number 10, who crosses this Maya, which is the illusion of this world being the primary thing. Whoever gives up attachments, who waits upon a spiritually magnanimous soul, who becomes free from the idea of possession. So surround yourself with something that's going to benefit that search. Okay. 47. Who habitually resorts to a solitary place, who cuts asunder all worldly bondage, he who transcends the three fundamental gunas of nature, who gives up the idea of acquisition and perseverance. Okay, so it's basically turning your back on all those other things that you gather and collect. Okay, your primary focus has to be that wanting to go forward to know truth. You have to want it more than your next breath. You have to want it more than anything. Again, it's that desire for that. If you don't have that desire for that, I don't care how much of this you follow, it's not going to arise because you have free will. Okay? 48. He who gives up all desire for the fruit of his actions renounces all activities and thus passes beyond all pair of opposites. Again, this is under doership. You're not going to earn your way there. Okay? Not going to earn your way there. Okay? 49. He who renounces even the Vedas, who has only incessant love for the Lord. Okay. 50. He crosses this Maya, and he takes other people also across it. number 11, chapter 11, 51. The nature of love is inexpressible in words. 52. It is like a dainty dish tasted by a mute person. 53. It finds expression very rarely in some worthy soul. Beyond the fundamental gunas, above all desires growing intense moment by moment, incessant, almost subtle, and unfathomable only by intuition. My intuition tells me it's direct experience. It's a direct state of consciousness. But in order to have that direct state of consciousness, the mindset that is fully immersed in the world of duality and Maya has to implode. That's the way that works. When that implodes, it says one is like waking up from the dream. You know the dream for what it was. You're no longer confused by it. It's the same thing. Okay? 55. When one has reached it, one sees that alone, hears about that, talks alone, thinks of that alone. Yeah, it's your primary, it's your reality. At that point, it's reality. It's not something you hope it is, or something that you have some idea about, or something that you've read about that somebody else's experience. It's your reality. Okay? Once that divisionary world of Maya implodes, okay, and all that's there in that moment is that divine is. That divine is never leaves. Okay? It is paramount. Okay. Chapter 13, 56. Secondary bhakti is of three kinds, to be classified either according to the difference of gunas or according to the difference of the afflicted and other aspirants to whom it belongs. 57. In either case, each preceding one is more conducive to beatitude than the one succeeding it. Okay? They're talking about the gunas, tamas, or, these different layers of awareness. Okay? So that's still on the path of seeking. Okay? The lesser ideas. Number 13. Bhakti is easier than any other way of approach to God. Well, not necessarily. It's just that this person has found that the easiest for them, so they want to say it's the best for everyone. Well, not necessarily. No. 59. For it needs no external proof, being its own proof. You can't have external proof until, you're there. You have to have knowledge of it directly. Part and parcel. Okay? Now, I don't know on others on the path. I couldn't love God that I didn't know God. You can't have that expression of love, okay, for something you don't know. You can have an expression of love for some idea you have about it. Like people are in love with the idea of love, okay? So it's the same thing. Well, I love God, I love it, and that's all I need, and that's I feel that love, and that love is the proof. That's all I need. Well, good luck with that. Okay. Number 60, and because it is of the nature of peace and the nature of perfect bliss. Okay, so that makes it sound as if you're going to be in bliss monkey all the time. No. There is that internal peace when realization takes place. Okay? Because all the doubt, all the ideas about are gone. Okay? The fallacy is gone. Opinions are gone. That direct knowledge of what it is and what it's not is there. So there's peace with that. Okay? There's peace with that. Chapter 14, 61. One need not worry if one's affairs go wrong, for the self-worldly affairs and even the Vedas have been surrendered to the Lord. Okay, all these other ideologies are gone. You're not depending on some scripture anymore. You're not depending on everything in your world has to go perfect. Okay? There's still that sense even in the midst of all that. Okay. Number 62. So long as this bhakti is not achieved, the ordinary way of life should not be given up, but renunciation of the desire for rewards of actions and discipline preparatory to it should be persistently practiced. So he goes from saying, that's all I need is that, then back into, well, if you're in ordinary life, then you just continue to do your ordinary life, but be in denial of things. Okay. 63. Accounts of women, wealth, and of unbelievers should not be listened to. Pride, vanity, and other vices should be eschewed. In other words, we're back in the round robin again, that your focus should be on the goal, which is wanting to know God, whatever, your love towards God, the divine is. So here we're back again to the beginning. All acts should be offered up to Him, the divine is, and even feelings like desire and pride should be entertained with reference to divine is only. So again, it's going around in another round robin. This is what you should think. This is what you should do. This is what you should, Yeah. 66. The three-dimensional form of love should be destroyed, and love alone should be entertained, devoted love of the eternal servant and of the eternal life. Okay. So in other words, you're in the world, but you're not of it. I'm in the world, I have a family, but I shouldn't have any love for my family. I should have love only to God. Okay. And everything else is, and they're calling that love. Okay. This is why I get frustrated with these texts, because it gets people in a round robin of mental ideations about it. Okay. We're back to the beginning again. We've already covered this. Why is it going back again? Okay. Chapter 15. Bhaktas exclusively attached to the Lord are the best of his devotees, or the best of the divine is. Well, if you're attached to the divine is, you're not going to ignore the rest of creation. Okay? 68. Talking of bhakti to one another in faltering tones, attended with thrill and tears of joy, they sanctify their race in wide earth. I don't care how much they ramble on and yeah, and say how fabulous it is and how wonderful it is and how they're not doing anything for anyone else. Okay? 69. They turn ordinary bathing places into sacred places of purification, ordinary acts into pious deeds, and words of instruction into holy texts. Okay. Places become holy because of people's ideas about it. There is not one place more holy than another place. Like the Bible said, wherever you stand is holy ground. Whereon you stand is holy ground. God is equally every place. So with the change of the ideation, every place is holy. Okay? Every act, if you do it with sacredness in mind, becomes holy, becomes a pious deed. If you are there to serve others, as the divine is always giving to us, then you give to others. That is a holy deed. Okay? Number 72. Among them there is no distinction due to birth, education, color, race, wealth, occupation, and the like. Yeah, everyone has the same amount of divine is. This idea about the caste system and all this drama is absolute BS. Created by men to serve men. It has nothing to do with the divine is. Nothing. Okay? It's anathema to what the divine is. Gives. Every man, woman, child, rock, tree, plant has the same amount of divine is within it. Okay? And once that's discovered, all these ideas of birth, education, color, race, wealth, occupation are out. Okay? One occupation is not higher than another one. All of them are needed. Okay? If all of them were businessmen, what would you do with the garbage? Okay? Then at that point, the garbage men would be the highest on the totem pole. Okay? So all that stuff goes out the window. 70 feet, for they are all his own. All the divine is. 74. The aspirant should not take to disputation. 75. For it leads to endless arguments that leads to no certain conclusion. 76. Works on bhakti should be studied and acts calculated to rouse this bhakti should be performed. Okay. So you're going to force love to arise. You can't force it. Okay? If I do this, then it's going to make it happen. No. That door has to be opened, and it's a natural wellspring that takes place. Okay. 77. Time free from the sway of pleasure, pain, desire, profit, or other worldly considerations is what everyone seeks, so even half a second should not be trifled away. Okay. So in other words, if that's your goal, every second you can give to it, give to it. Okay. 78. Nonviolence, truthfulness, purity, compassion, piety, and other essentials of good life should be maintained. Well, you shouldn't want anything else. If that's your goal, it's like, oh, make sure you do this. If that's your goal, then the other is not going to hold any sort of sway at all. Okay? If it's an effort to do that, then you're not going to gain bhakti. Okay? Okay? So 79, free from all care, you shall always adore the Lord alone with all your heart and soul. Okay? You know, if you're loving the Lord, divine is, then you're going to love his manifestation. Okay? You can find just as much about God in a flower or a contemplation of a rock as anything. The divine is there as well. Okay? Number 80, if steadily praised, the Lord reveals himself soon and blesses the bhaktas with realization. Oh, steadily praised, please. Yes, God is going to be so enamored of your praise. He's going to be so taken in by it. Okay? No, you don't have to sit there and sing God's praise. God knows what is in your heart. The divine is that consciousness. Okay? So to think that God's on the order of ego and is going to be taken in by it, it's ridiculous. Okay? Grace takes place when you continue to surrender. Okay? You don't need to phony up any of this nonsense. Okay? Do this external thing. Oh, be the greatest singer. Oh, I'm so, that's a show. God doesn't need a show. The divine is not about some petty, egotistical show. Okay? So let's go on. Chapter 17, verse 81. For all the three divisions of time, past, present, and future, bhakti alone is preferable to other paths. Bhakti alone is preferable. Well, why does he have to say it twice? Okay. Again, whatever works for you, whatever you are connected with, is the best path for you. That's what Tantra is, using all of what is there to move forward. Not isolating one little thing over here and saying that's the best of the best. Okay? For here, it was the path of neti, not this, not this, not this. Looking deeper, deeper, deeper. What is mine? What brings up? What brings the emotion? How does this thing? Where does it go when it leaves? Okay? So it's whatever path is there that works the best for you. Instead of trying to phony up some love, some great thing, and if you do all these things, it's going to magically appear. No. Okay? No. 82. I know I'm going to get flack back for this, but it is what it is. 82. Though in itself one, this bhakti manifests itself in 11 different forms. Attachment to the glorification of the blessed qualities of God. Attachment to his beautiful form. Well, his beautiful form. Here we go again. So it's basically saying attached to, God doesn't have a form. God is the formless. Okay? It may express his form, such as people attach to Krishna and say that's a beautiful form. It's only one tiny aspect. All the gods and goddesses in Hinduism are one little aspect of the divine is. So you're going to attach to one tiny little aspect and worship it? Okay, if that's what you got to do, you do it. Okay? But understand, God is all of manifestation. All of manifestation. Okay? Number 3, attachment to the divine is worship. 4, attachment to divine is remembrance. 5, attachments to divine is service. Why is this attachment? Attachment. I have to hold to it. I have to cling to it. I have to... No. It should be a natural flow. A natural flow. Not something I'm going to hold to, attach to, grab to, Again, that's endurership. If there is this divine love there, that this is going to flow, these things. They're not something separate to look at and hold to and reminisce about, and, it's not like that. Okay? So let's continue with their attachments here. Attachment to divine is service. Attachments to the divine is his friendship. Attachment to filial love for divine is. Attachment to wife-like love for the divine is. Attachment to self-surrender. Attachment to being filled with divine is. An attachment to an intense feeling of excruciating pain of separation. Oh, now you want to be filled with the divine is? Is the divine is something that you own? Okay? So it sounds like, this person is a separate. There's no influx. If there was an influx and a feeling, there would not be attachment. You only attach to something that's separate from you. I want to be filled with the God is my co-pilot. I'm in charge. God's my co-pilot. No. Okay. 83. So declare the teachers of bhakti with one accord in defiance of public criticism. Teachers like, well, I'm sorry, I cannot hold with that. Okay. Now this is not true, because they have Uddhava in there. Okay. Now, Krishna, before he left, he gave the last of the teachings to his divine student Uddhava, and he was talking more of non-duality. Okay? Not of this dualistic holding to. Now, you have one that was of the dualistic holding to, Ramakrishna. Remember, he was so devoted to Kali. And what happened, he had a taste of the divine is realization, but he said, I don't want that. I want to worship Kali. I want to dance with Kali. I want to be separate. I want to taste the sugar. I don't want to be the sugar. Okay? So he opted for bhakti, the divisionary separation, because he wanted to taste the sugar. I want to have a separate experience of it. I don't want to be it. Okay? So we have these teachers, Sanat Kumara, Vyasa, Sukha, Sandalya, Garga, Vishnu, Kaundinya, Sesha, Uddhava, Aruni, Bali, Hanuman, and Vibhishana. Yeah, Hanuman again was a servant. Okay. They didn't go on to realization. Okay. These were ones that were separate, seeking, still seeking. Okay. 84. Whoever in this world believes, has faith in this gracious instruction offered by Narada, he becomes endowed with bhakti. He attains the highest beatitude. He attains the highest beatitude. Okay, so it says in there that the gods are envious of the realized being. Right? These gods are separate energies, In realization, all these separations end. And one sees that divine is, that pearl. Okay? That runs, and there's a thread that runs through all of these things. One has no longer been that pearl. One has become the thread. Okay? The thread which all of these things hang on. These Narada Bhakti Sutras are like becoming a pearl instead of being the thread, coming to be the thread. that all of this hangs upon. Okay. Once that thread is experienced, then you understand the pearls for what they are. All these separate experiences. Okay. So there you have it, the Narada Bhakti Sutras. You may not like the translation here, but I have to give it as it is. Okay. You know, it doesn't matter how much I would want to be a mathematician. That's not in the makeup here. Okay? And I don't care how much things they give me on the math, being a maths expert is going to unlock the secrets of the universe. It will never happen here. It is not in the consciousness here. Okay? It's not something that the door is open for. It's not a natural proclivity. It's not something, of interest. Now, I know someone, like I said, when I was living in India, I said, God is the zero. God is not the one, because the one is subdivisional. God cannot be ever really subdivided. And this one guy was like this, and he was a maths expert. He wrote a paper, corrected a paper that only 15 people in the world would understand. And he understood what I was saying. So he'd come over and we had some good talks. But I can never understand him. He thinks in equations. His whole thought, his whole relationship is in equations. And I can't get that at all. I can't imagine such a thing. And just as he cannot imagine the path that I had here. But we can both relate to God as the zero, which gives value to everything, but within itself, it has no structure, okay? So the form of God is not a form of God, is formless, spirit, energy, okay? And then when that formless comes out through Shakti, Shakti is energy. It gives it energy, and then depending on the energy, bandwidth, etc., you get different colors, you get manifestations. If it's a very slow vibration, it becomes like a rock. Very high vibration, it's like light, okay? It's all energy. Okay. Now, I don't care how long I tried, I would never understand how energy gets sent via phone to the towers, I could have never created that. So different people have different proclivities as to what moves them and what's going to work for them. There is not one specific path that's better than all the others. I don't care how much they want to tout it themselves as the end-all, be-all. Whichever one works for you is the best. Okay? Doesn't mean the others are lesser. Just within your consciousness, your makeup, okay, there is something that works better than something else, okay? So, again, if you think you're too analytical and you want to try to develop bhakti and you think you found the answer in Narada Bhakti, and if you do this and get rid of this and you get rid of that, it's going to spontaneously arise, no. I'm telling you flat out, no. Find a path, and there will be a path that works with something that makes sense to you. Okay? So love and light to everyone. I hope you were able to hear this. It's very hot in here, so I have to have some of the AC going. It's right above my head. I'm trying to scream. I'm losing my voice. So hopefully you were able to hear this. If not, get some earphones and external speakers. So love and light to everyone. See you online. Happy Labor Day. My labor is done for the day.